Hello friends of music, this is Makoto from Makoto's World, and welcome back to another Sabaton reaction. Today, to Lady of the Dark, the animated story video. You know, I'm a fan of history and music, and Sabaton brings these two things together, especially because they're telling us stories from heroes most people will not know. So it's really amazing. You learn something and have amazing music. This is, as I say, this is the best thing you can do. Let's check it out.
It's 1964 in Belgrade, Yugoslavia. It's been 50 years since the start of World War I. Events are happening across the country, but here in Belgrade, at the Monument of Gratitude to France, a ceremony is taking place alongside French, British and American dignitaries, many of whom have given service in a war that ended not 5 years earlier. The veterans, officers and dignitaries are seated ready for the ceremony to begin. An old lady, dressed in a long black coat, shuffles towards the front and takes her place in the front row. The men stop talking about their exploits in the war, as curiosity gets the better of them. Who is this old lady dressed in black, sat in the middle of all these great men and heroes? Underneath her hat, the woman's eyes are like steel, but she allows herself a smile as the men's conversation turns to her. Eventually, with curiosity getting the better of him, an American officer leans in towards her and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, but who are you? And why are you here?" The old woman says nothing. She simply stands up and removes her coat. The dignitaries' mouths drop open in shock. This old lady has a chest full of medals like nothing they've ever seen before. Medals for bravery. The officer stammers, Excuse me, ma'am, I meant no offense. You have obviously shown your bravery on the battlefield. Can you tell me your story?" The old lady smiles, and her eyes appear younger as she says, "Well, gentlemen,
Gather round. Let me tell you of the times when women like me were not allowed to fight for our country and our freedom. But I did, anyway."
Goosebumps already is so... These are real stories, you know? No fantasy, this is real.
In November 1914, Austro-Hungarian troops invaded Serbia. They have reached the Kolubara River. The elite Serbian Iron Regiment are one of many valiantly defending their homeland from the foreign invaders. The Iron Regiment's assault bomber squad of shock attack troops has a commander that's tough, battle-hardened and a fierce fighter. Milunka Savic, a woman in a man's uniform, has proven again and again her bravery and determination. Her expertise with grenades makes her a match for any man, and she is both feared and respected. The Serbs are outnumbered and overwhelmed, and despite the pleas from her comrades, she decides to cross no man's land. Armed with a rifle and 3 bandoliers of grenades, she's determined to take the fight to the enemy.
don't fear the war. She's had the life of brothers. She'll fight for honor. She'll fight for life. A lady goes to war. Raise your hand for the lady of the dark. Raise your hand for the lady of the dark. Soldier with no will to kill with a philanthropic heart. Never break the law. She's the girl in uniform. Fighting side by side with men. She will fight until the end.
After the battle, the new commander of the Iron Regiment asked in front of the regiment, "Which soldier or non-commissioned officer deserves the highest military decoration of Serbia, the Order of the Star of Karađorđe, for their part in the Battle of Kolubara?" A cry went up among the men.
Milunka.
Milunka Savic. Milunka Savic. Milunka Savic. Milunka, the Lady of the Dark. Milunka was informed in hospital of the award. She quickly returned to the front lines. This was just the start of her career. Milunka Savic became the most decorated woman soldier in history, with medals from several nations for her bravery. Milunka Savic, Lady of the Dark, bomber of Kolubara, and the most decorated woman in history, finished her days living a quiet life in Serbia and passed away in 1973.
This is freaking unreal, imagine. 1973. So she survived not only the First World War, also the Second World War. These are times, you know, this you cannot even imagine it. This is what I love about Sabaton, you know. It's not like they just do the music and they're really dedicated. They really research and doing these videos, and there's so much love and respect for this and every story they're telling, and that's what I love. Before Sabaton did it, never heard of her in once. That's wow. What a badass woman. That's why Sabaton is one of my favorite power metal bands, because of that. When people say, they are, you know, glorifying war. No. There's so much songs where they're just portraying the horrors of the wars and how terrible it is. In general, they're telling the stories from these heroes. They survived or they give their life off. So it's really not about, oh, war is amazing and let's go war. It's about telling the stories about the history, and that's, yeah, every time it hooked me. That's what I love. It really hooked me. It's why I was really like, oh, cool. That's it. Great job on this. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Just wanted to do it today on Sunday because I thought I have to. I love this stuff. And yeah, so that's for that. We see you in another reaction. Goodbye.